Salam, salam, Auntie Aisha. What?
You still can't say it.
Assalamu alaikum, Aisha.
There you go.
Oh, that's exactly what I just said.
Hello and welcome to Cinemondo with Kathy and Mark, and we are excited because we're doing a review of a new film that just came out
from Shout Studios, and this is kind of a throwback in such a nice way to some of the rom-coms that I used to go to the theaters, like Four Weddings and a Funeral and My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I mean, that kind of stuff, sort of immigrants dealing with, cultural differences and stuff, but in a very sweet sort of way. And the film's called What's Love Got to Do With It, which, of course, I think of the Tina Turner song. And it is a film that was released by Shout Studios, and it stars Lily James and Shazad Latif, who are these two young, very beautiful people,
childhood friends. They live next door to each other in Britain.
Right. It takes place in London. So there's that immigration angle because there's Indians living in London, and so that, for me personally, coming from an immigrant background, is sort of it's very comforting. Like this sort of cultural changes and sort of how they clash, but done in a romantic comedy in a very sweet way, and it's directed by Shekhar Kapur, who has been in a lot of wonderful films, and it's a UK film. And released now, it's currently released in the U.S., and you can see the poster right there, and you can see Lily James, of course, and Shazad Latif. Emma Thompson plays her mom.
Yeah. Good cast.
Shabana Azmi plays the other mom. So you see right there what we're talking about. It's like these two childhood friends, and then something happens, and then it's like, how does the family deal with all this stuff, and how does the wife and all this kind of stuff happen?
Well, it's interesting because they've known each other a long time, and she seems a little clued out on the cultural differences between them for the most part. I mean, they were both brought up in Britain, but the family definitely has some different ideas about the culture. And so, but she always thought of it as like kind of this thing, it's in the background, I don't need to think about it. Right. As he gets older, and she's become a kind of award-winning documentary filmmaker. So she wants to do a new documentary. So she finds out her friend next door, Kaz, is about to be married in an assisted marriage. He even goes assisted. Like they keep saying it like that. Like it's not arranged, it's assisted. And so when she finds that out, her mind is kind of blown. Like she's like, what? But you're raised here. So she's having a lot of trouble. Like, and you can tell there's a lot of chemistry with those two.
Yes.
And even though they act like they're kind of not into each other and they've known each other, they're like best friends. You're like, Harry met Sally, maybe. But so she wants to make a documentary, and I think that it's a really interesting idea to see, like, how does the assisted marriage idea work, especially someone who's been so acclimated to British culture, with the family arranging for him to marry a woman he's never met, that he's kind of like talking to over Zoom calls, like he's sort of in a way auditioning them, like his mother finds them and then he's talking to them, which I thought was really funny. So he's kind of like, I'm going through a few. So she pitches this idea of doing a documentary filmmaker to her production company that has produced her other films. And they're kind of like, I don't know, but they're kind of sold on it when she starts like kind of telling them more and more.
To marry a stranger chosen by his parents.
My Big Fat Arranged Wedding.
Meet the parents first.
Love contractually.
Huh.
I thought it was a great setup because now we get to see it kind of in a way through that lens of seeing that arranged marriage idea, not just as like this goofy fall down, haha, it's funny thing, but like an actual, in a way, a comedic lens looking at the ins and outs of how this works and does it work?
And does it work? Yeah. And I think,
his parents were in arranged marriage or assisted marriage and they're still married. And so he's like, I know so many people who fell in love and they're divorced. So how can this really be worse? Like he's not meeting anyone the old fashioned way. So he's like, fine, assisted marriage sounds good. He's very accomplished. He just doesn't have a lot of time.
And also it's just the tradition of, where he came from. It's just, they're involved
it's not weird to him at all. Like,
right. It's not, it's like, no, this is how it's done. And our marriage has stayed together. We've been married for many years. And I know personally an Indian friend who's been, same thing, assisted marriage from somebody in India. They're happily married. They have a kid. Everything's great. So it's just like, we can look at it and go, well, that's crazy. Well, is it?
Is it?
I mean,
And
is it really?
and we've seen a lot of Indian cinema lately. Like we've discovered it. We've been doing a lot of coverage of Indian films, and this is an interesting bridge because it's a British film, but it's based on some Indian culture. It has an Indian director,
Right.
so it's a very interesting version of the old ideas and traditions merging with her super feminist, like accomplished woman. I don't need a man to complete me attitude. So this sort of clash between them, and that there's a great discussion with Emma Thompson, who plays her mother, where the mother's trying to kind of soothe her by saying, "Oh, it'll be okay. You'll find someone someday." And she's like, "What, do you think I'm like half a person without a man? Are you saying I'm never going to be happy unless I have a man?" Like, I loved her discussion of like, I am my own person.
Right.
And through the whole film, she is so hyper focused on doing that you could see that that's her armor. She's dating terrible people. She's dating married men. She's she's doing these one night stands. Like, she clearly has some issues settling down, like does not want to settle down. And she's trying to sort of cloak it in, I'm too busy. When he finally meets the woman he's going to marry, that he arranges the marriage with, her name is Sajal Ali.
Yes.
And she's actually Pakistani, I think, but she's on there. She does not look excited at all. Like, he's talking to her and she's just like, just so sad. Or she never smiles. And I feel like you didn't even, they had nothing to talk about. She was really boring and sad. And it was but it was a good family match. The family seemed like the good match. It's sort of like a partnership, you know.
That's exactly what I thought. Like, he was thinking, like, I'm thinking, okay, I got to find somebody to marry.
Yeah.
But it's important in this situation that the families get along almost as much as important that I get along with my wife, which is so interesting and weird. But that's part and parcel of the whole thing. So like, she'll come around to me eventually. Maybe that was.
Like, it'll be fine. It's like, it's rough at first. Like, she's trying to placate, saying, And I've been seeing a few of these movies lately. I saw DDD, which is a comedy starring Priyanka Chopra, and it was kind of like the White Lotus version, but it was a lot of that, like the marriages that were arranged. They're trying to marry off a couple of people. The families all come together on this big cruise ship as like a celebration. They are trying to marry off the son to another family. He's not into it. The girl he wants to marry is actually into someone else. But you're finding out in the background how these marriages are more important than just the kids. They're about like merging businesses, merging alliances. So it's like, it's not just about like, oh, who you're in love with. It's about, you need to do what's best for our family and for your family. So it's not even just you anymore. And he kind of makes that point to her, like, this isn't just about me. This is about our entire family. It's a family thing. It's a family decision. So I thought that was kind of interesting how Lily James is all like, I don't get it,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just a totally different culture. I mean, same caste systems, things like that. All that is important. But, love and, attractiveness, all that kind of stuff, that has to be there, but it will eventually get there. Like, you will eventually find that. But this other stuff has to be the foundation of your marriage, which is so not, the way we think, or a lot of people think. But and I've been to a few Indian weddings in my life. And
they look so fun.
Unbelievable.
They had this in this movie too. You're like, oh my gosh.
Well, they'll put out all this food keeps coming. And then after like 3 hours later, okay, now dinner. And you're like, what?
And they're making these beautiful sparkles and lights, and it just makes American weddings look so boring.
Oh,
and just looks so much dancing and singing, and it's so beautiful. And and
really
even when they have the wedding, like, she comes into the wedding and this woman is still not smiling. Like, she just barely can manage to smile, and she's coming to her wedding. I was amazed they even had the wedding, because she clearly wasn't into it. And he was like, oh, she'll be fine. She'll come around. Like, he keeps saying, she'll be fine.
I would think that so many Indian women would not be thrilled about going into a marriage that they really.
Oh yeah, I would be thrilled in marrying a successful doctor who looks like this guy. Like, oh, what a sham that would be! It's this incredibly handsome man. Oh my God, I would have been like, hello.
Yeah, I'm in. Let's go.
I'll marry you. No problem. But I did enjoy that because and Lily James was very angsty and very tortured and on the verge of being annoying, because she was so opinionated in a kind of disparaging way. Like, I feel like she did kind of blow him off a lot in a kind of insensitive way. She was trying to get both sides, but she kind of missed the point on a lot of it. And so when she finally finishes her film, people see it, they felt like really insulted by some of the interviews that she did, especially at the end. There was the one like,
Right.
you didn't tell us the sister who was kind of been drummed out of the family was going to be in this movie. There was a lot of angst in this movie,
Yeah.
but overall, the photography was so great. They made it look so beautiful. And I love the culture clash again. I think that's really fun. And you could definitely see the fun chemistry. I liked them just hanging out and talking. That was super fun to see.
And if you like
And
happy endings, that's
yeah,
I would
it had the
I think
ending we
it's
wanted. Yes.
yeah, I mean it's a film that like I'll say it one more time. It's a throwback to films that that were around a lot in the 90s and 2000s. Bridget Jones' Diary, things of that nature, like but bringing this culture clash in, which always makes it for an entertaining film. So
Yeah,
What's Love Got to Do with It was really fun
it
and
was.
really worth
Accomplished
seeing.
director. I mean, this isn't just
Yeah, no,
I mean,
this
he's
is
not even a comedy director. I mean, he directed Elizabeth, which was stunning.
yeah, that was
Like
an
this
Academy
is
Award
Shekhar
nominated
Kapur.
film. Yeah.
So he's bringing that sensibility also to this film. So, and again, this just seemed like perfect timing for me because we've been doing so much Indian content, and I'm just feel so steeped in the culture now, trying to figure everything out in these films, and what's the, what are the finer points of the relationships and how it all works. And so this was a really interesting way to get the Western point of view with this Eastern point of view together, and kind of trying to explain how they can overlap and merge, and then sometimes they don't, and the differences and why they're differences. And
Right.
it's like and of course Emma Thompson's always fun, but it just had a lot of really great performances, and like you said, it's a nice take on the rom-com that two people, he works there, she works there, they get together. Like, this is a whole different level of depth that I don't think we've seen in a lot of rom-coms. So I really like that.
I agree. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And it's a good it's playing at theaters. You can actually go to the
Yeah.
theater and see this, and it's a good movie to take your partner, significant other, because I think it's one of those kind of films.
Yeah.
Like you walk out and talk about it, and in a positive way. So, a happy movie, an interesting movie in a lot of ways. A
And
good
don't worry,
cast,
not
good
hardly any subtitles.
Yeah,
If any.
no,
I don't
please,
even
yeah,
know if there are
yeah.
any. I'm so used to
No.
seeing them, I don't even register, but
the
mostly
movies,
everyone's speaking English, so
the
don't worry,
movies,
people. The ones that care about
everybody's.
that. I don't, but
Yeah,
some
don't.
people do.
Yeah, if you don't, because it's definitely not an issue in this film.
No,
It's
no.
shot and set in London, for goodness sake.
That's right.
So
And I'm not, like you said, I'm not a rom-com person. I don't necessarily consider them on my radar at all. So they have to be really special for me to take a stab at them. And so this one was especially, like I said, really resonated because of where we're at and the entertainment we've been seeing lately. So that, and along with, I feel like again, you'll see something new. It's got a new twist. It's got really great performances. It's just something that if you're not necessarily a rom-com person either, you'll still probably like this, because I like the filmmaking aspect, the culture class aspect, the whole
There's a little
how
bite
the
to it.
assisted arranged kind of marriages really work, like how that
Yeah.
goes down, especially today in 2023, like because
right.
it is present day, and she's kind of like, this still happens. What are you
Yeah.
doing? Like, she just thought it was crazy, and I thought that was really, really cool, because that's how a lot of Westerners think. Like, people still do that. It's like, yeah, they still do that.
It's well worth checking out,
It is.
and you should see it. What's Love Got to Do with It? It's at a theater near you, as they say.
Yes.
And
Big release. Go see it.
yes, it's really fun. And I'm more of a rom-com fan, but I also just don't watch them because they can be too sugary. This one has a little bit of a bite to it.
It does.
And that makes it that much better. So, thanks for watching as always.
All right.
And see you soon.
Guys.
Bye.
Bye.